The recording began with laughter, alien laughter, the kind that didn't carry joy, only contempt. On the marble floors of the Karath Dominion's council hall, the human ambassador knelt, bound, bruised, his uniform torn. His name was Elias Ward, a career diplomat who had brokered peace across half the Orion Spur. He had come alone, unarmed, carrying humanity's terms of alliance, its olive branch extended toward the Dominion. The aliens accepted his hand and broke his fingers. High Chancellor Vraith leaned close, his scaled lips curling into something like a smile. "Humans," he hissed, his voice dripping with amusement. "So fragile, so loud about peace. Tell me, little mammal, do your kind always mistake mercy for strength?" Elias didn't answer. His swollen eyes only glared up at the Dominion's banners, red on black, fluttering above the chamber. The council members laughed. Broadcast drones circled, recording every second of the humiliation. "This," Vraith declared, gesturing toward the broken human, "is what becomes of Earth's arrogance. One envoy, and this is their might." Then, with casual cruelty, he drew his blade, a ceremonial shard of obsidian, and pressed it beneath the ambassador's chin. "Let them see," he whispered. "Let Earth see what happens to those who dare stand among the stars." The blade fell. The broadcast went live to every corner of Dominion space, and, through intercepted signals, to the Terran relay network. Billions watched Elias Ward die, his last words lost beneath the sound of alien laughter. For a moment, the galaxy was silent. Then, the Dominion laughed louder, the age of mockery, for 7 standard days. The Karath Dominion celebrated, across their worlds. Hollow banners mocked Earth, cartoons of humans kneeling, songs sung of their softness. Dominion citizens wore mock uniforms and reenacted Ward's execution in public squares. One Dominion admiral even toasted Earth's inevitable retreat, declaring, "Let them hide behind their blue marble. The stars belong to the strong." The Council believed this was the end of the Terran question. After all, humans were new to the galactic stage, barely a century among the stars, known for their diplomacy, their trade, their endless negotiations. They'd won hearts, but never wars. They'd built colonies, not fortresses. The Dominion's analysts reported no fleet movements, no military transmissions from Earth. "See?" Vraith boasted before his peers. "They tremble. They mourn their diplomat, but they will not fight. They cannot fight," his words drew applause. The Dominion toasted again. But far across the void, in the Sol system, silence was breaking. The silence before the storm it began with the blackout of the Terran defense grid. Every beacon, every ship's signature, every station, dark, unreachable. The galactic net filled with questions. Was Earth mourning, retreating, hiding? No one knew that, in those hours, under the shadow of Luna, Earth's fleets were awakening. In the cold of the Kuiper yards, Dreadnought's long-thought decommissioned flickered to life. Massive hangar doors parted, releasing carriers that hadn't flown since the siege of Europa. Orbital foundries ran hot, shipyards glowing red as ancient engines were reforged. The Terran High Command convened, not in public, not in the open halls of diplomacy, but deep beneath the Pacific Defense Bastion. The Council replayed Elias Ward's final moments in silence. When the recording ended, no one spoke for several minutes. Then Admiral Leon Kovac, gray-haired, eyes like steel, rose from her seat. "Elias Ward believed in peace," she said quietly. "But peace is not submission. Not after this." Someone asked, "What are the rules of engagement?" She looked around the table. "There are none." Orders rippled through the void. Coded signals, encrypted channels, dormant fleets responded like awakened giants. Colonies that had sworn neutrality suddenly aligned. Old warships, sleeping in asteroid fields, powered up their reactors for the first time in decades. And across the stars, the message spread. "One of us has fallen. All of us rise." The dawn of retribution, when the Dominion finally detected movement, it was too late. Their border stations picked up hundreds of faint warp signatures, then thousands, approaching from Terran space. They scrambled fleets, confident that this was just bluster, a show of force. But the sensors kept climbing. The numbers were wrong. The scale was impossible. "Confirm that," said a Dominion technician, his voice shaking. "That can't be right. How many ships?" The officer looked at his console. His hands trembled. "Too many to count." Moments later, the stars themselves seemed to vanish. From hyperspace ruptures emerged the Armada Solis, the largest coordinated human fleet ever assembled. Battle carriers, siege frigates, drone swarms, orbital artillery platforms, all moving as one. Their hulls bore no insignia, no colors, only a single emblem, the Terran Star. Black on gray, the Dominion's border fleet opened fire. It didn't matter. Human railguns answered, firing tungsten rounds at near relativistic speed. Planetary shields cracked in seconds. Orbital platforms disintegrated before they could raise alarms. When the Dominion's second fleet arrived, they found only wreckage and silence. The galaxy watched in horror. The humans weren't sending messages. They weren't broadcasting threats. They were simply erasing the Dominion, system by system. Every world that had mocked the death of Elias Ward now burned. The unforgiven Skyon, the Dominion capital world of Karath Prime. Chancellor Vraith stood before his war council, trembling. "Why are they doing this?" he demanded. "They could have taken vengeance on the fleet that killed their envoy. But they're raising everything." Admiral Korath, his scales dull from exhaustion, whispered, "Because you killed a symbol, my lord, and now they've made him immortal." Even as they spoke, the skies over Karath Prime darkened. Terran ships blotted out the sun. Atmospheric entry trails scorched the clouds like fiery veins. The Dominion's planetary defense grid fired everything it had: plasma lances, missile storms, energy cannons. But the humans moved with brutal precision. Orbital kinetic strikes fell like thunder, tearing apart defense towers. The final transmission from Karath's high command was one line, picked up across every channel. "They're not conquering, they're avenging." On the surface, human drop troops landed in waves, each wearing the mark of the fallen diplomat etched on their armor. Entire divisions named after him: Ward's Legion, Elias Battalion. The envoy's wrath they did not pillage. They did not negotiate. They dismantled the Dominion's rule piece by piece, until every symbol of their arrogance was reduced to ash. And when it was done, Admiral Kovacs herself stood upon the ruins of the Dominion's Grand Hall. Beside the shattered banners that once hung over Elias Ward's body, she gave one order to her fleet: transmit his last words. Static filled the air, then the faint, broken voice of the ambassador echoed through every surviving Dominion system. "If you kill one human, remember, one does not stand alone." The shattering of the galaxy. The war lasted 39 days. The Dominion had ruled half the spiral arm for centuries. They had conquered species, extinguished civilizations. But against humanity's wrath, they lasted barely over a month. When the last of their fleets fell, when the last world surrendered, Earth's armada didn't claim territory. They didn't establish rule. They simply left. Where the Dominion once stood, there was only silence and drifting ruin. Other empires watched in terrified awe. The Odrak Syndicate, who had once called humans the meek merchants of Sol, immediately signed a non-aggression pact. The Varn Collective sealed their borders, praying the humans would not look their way. The galactic media coined a new term: the silence of Sol. Because after the war, humanity said nothing. No speeches, no declarations of victory. Their fleets returned home, vanishing once more into the cold dark, their purpose fulfilled. The whispered fear years passed. The Dominion was gone, its name erased from star charts. In its place, an empty region known only as the Ward Expanse. Merchants refused to travel there. Pilots spoke of hearing strange transmissions, fragments of Elias Ward's final broadcast echoing through dead systems. Children in the outer colonies whispered a story that humanity had armies sleeping in every shadow, waiting for the next insult. On neutral worlds, alien diplomats learned to choose their words carefully when addressing Terrans. Some even bowed, just slightly, because everyone remembered what had happened when one human died, and how the stars themselves trembled in response. One Karath survivor, living in exile, was once asked what the Dominion had done wrong. He looked into the camera, eyes hollow, voice quiet. "We thought we'd broken a man," he said. "But when one human falls, millions stand. They do not forgive. They do not forget." Epilogue: the price of mercy in. The years that followed, humanity did not expand further. They did not conquer. They rebuilt their colonies, strengthened their alliances, and kept to themselves. But the galaxy never forgot. When disputes arose, when violence threatened to break out, one phrase always brought immediate silence across the diplomatic halls of the Galactic Assembly: "Do not test Earth's patience." For they had seen what waited behind it. They had seen the skies burn, the stars go dark, and entire empires fall before a single, unified wrath. They had seen one man die, and an entire species rise behind him, and in that rising, the galaxy learned the oldest truth of humanity: Mercy is their nature. But vengeance is their birthright.